everyone. Welcome to a virtual craft program with the Polk County Public Libraries. My name is Amelia, and today I'm going to show you how to make a cute woodblock gnome out of our Take and Make kits this week. Now, if you're familiar with our Take and Make program, we alternate between having activities for children, teenagers, and adults. And our woodblock gnome craft is for adults. So if you haven't picked one up, we still have a couple left. You can stop by the Columbus or Saluda Libraries and pick one up. Inside your bag, you will have some instructions and ideas for additional materials that you might want to use from home. And I'll show you some of those today too. You're gonna have a woodblock triangle that looks like this. You have some fur for your gnome's beard. And, ooh, that fur is a little tickly on your nose. And there's also a very small, so make sure you find this in your bag before you toss your bag, very small wooden circle, and this is going to be used for your gnome's nose. Okay, so all of that is provided this week. Anything else to decorate your gnome, we're hoping that you use from materials that you already have at home. One thing I did want to point out is that if you participated in our succulent cork magnet from earlier on this summer, you already have a paintbrush at home that you could just reuse for this activity. So, going through this project, you'll see a couple of pictures pop up in the corner of this video. And those are just progressive pictures of how I painted the gnome in the 3 different stages. The first thing that I did with the wood block, however, since it's got some rough edges around here, I used a sanding block that I already had. If you don't have a sanding block, that's okay. You can pull off some of the rough edges. It's not going to be that big of a deal. Those are just edges that were left over after the saw cut them. So, and they're mostly towards the side and the bottom. And if you remember from this one, he's going to have a lot of beard on the side and the bottom. So if you don't get all of it off, that's okay. But if you have a sanding block, that's super helpful because you can just go around your woodblock triangle and brush off some of those rough edges. Okay. And depending on how smooth you want your edges, your gnome may end up having more curved edges, and that's okay. It's totally up to you. But I think one of the best things about this gnome is it's a very definite triangle shape, and that gives him some character. So once I'm done, my woodblock triangle looks like this. In the next steps, you'll see in the pictures to the side, I painted my first layer of paint. I used a natural color of acrylic paint. When you're using acrylic paint, be careful because if you do get it on you, it will not come out of your clothes. I found that out the hard way. But I've used khaki acrylic paint, and this is Apple Barrel brand. It doesn't matter, just as long as it's a color that you're happy with. So I painted the base of the whole wood block, front, back, sides, tops, and bottoms with this khaki color that's right here in the middle. Okay, and you can see on this example, this woodblock gnome, my coworker Martha actually decorated. So I'll be using hers as an example in this video. But she's got her base layer. You can see it right here. She used khaki as well. The next layer that I chose to add was brown for his pants. And your gnome can be a girl or a boy, but I just assumed that my gnome is a boy because he has a beard. Totally up to you. But he has brown pants. So I painted his pants with melted chocolate. Doesn't that sound good? Melted chocolate. And again, that's acrylic paint. So I put a couple of layers of that on, and then I decided that his hat was going to be green. So this is actually a Christmas green paint. And then after that dries, we can start adding the fun accessories to our gnome. All right. To add on the beard, the nose, the eyebrows, And if you want, I'm going to show you how to make these glasses too. I'm going to put glasses on my gnome, so we'll walk through those steps. But all of those steps, I'm going to use a hot glue gun. So while this video has been going on, I've been having my hot glue warm up over here on the side. And as always, if you have young ones around the house, be careful of your hot glue gun being out because it does look like a fun toy. All right, so my glue is already warmed up. And I'm going to take out my fur, and you'll want to kind of brush through it because when we cut the fur with scissors, it's got, it was this large piece, it was like 2 yards of fur, which is pretty cool. But it's got some loose edges from using the scissors, so you may want to brush it out and you can see all the little pieces falling off. I recommend either doing this outside or grabbing a lint brush right away, especially if you have on dark colored clothes, because all of this fur will show up. All right, so I'm pulling it all out, and if you sneeze, that's okay. I'm gonna take the top layer of the very tippy top of my gnome's beard, and I'm just gonna cut all the way across. And notice I flipped some of that up with the scissors. Okay, so I've got about 1/4 of an inch that I'm cutting all the way across, and I want to make sure there's still some fluffy pieces left because this is going to make the eyebrows of our gnome. All right, I'm going to cut all the way across. Oops. All right. And depending on how you want your gnome to look, you may want his eyebrows to be slanted in a little bit so he looks angry or kind of grumpy. The gnome that I made as an example at the Saluda Library, if you were able to see him, has eyebrows that look like that, and he looks like a grumpy old man, which is kind of funny. All right, so I'm just gonna cut some eyebrow shapes here. My eyebrows are a modified triangle. If you can see the back of this, it's kind of got a curve to it. That way it has an eyebrow shape. But the other side is crisp and straight, and it's just a triangle, okay? And it's got all of this fluff left. So we'll trim his eyebrows in just a few minutes after we attach them to the face, okay? So I've got one eyebrow there. I'm gonna go ahead and cut the other eyebrow. Okay, there it is. Also the same shape and like that triangle shape. So there it is, his little eyebrow. So now I've got 2 eyebrows. And I'm gonna go ahead and put the eyebrows on. Now before I use the hot glue, I'm gonna go ahead and shape them. I'm gonna kind of get my bearings here. And I've noticed that I've got some extra white on the eyebrows that I don't really like. So I'm gonna kind of cut that off, and that eyebrow looks really good. So I'm gonna go ahead and trim it up, and depending on how long you want your gnome's eyebrows, you may want them to be really long, you may want them to be kind of short, up to you, or you can glue it on and then trim them up later. Not a big deal. So I've got his eyebrows, at least one of them. I'm gonna go ahead and glue it on because I'm happy with how it looks. And then the other eyebrow that I cut, I'm not so happy with, so I'm gonna go back and fix that and cut a different eyebrow. Now in your bag, you've got enough fur for your beard as well as multiple eyebrows. So if you mess up your eyebrow, it's not the end of the world. You can cut more, okay? Also, this is just regular hot glue, so if you place the eyebrow in the wrong place, and his eyebrows are a little crooked, you can peel it off and put it back on. All right, so here's my other eyebrow. And this fur keeps growing. I don't know why, but it does. It's like it multiplies before your eyes. All right, so I've got this other eyebrow. It's pretty great. I'm happy with it. I'm gonna go ahead and glue it on too. And I've got, if it's helpful to you, I already have, oh, those eyebrows are kind of uneven. I'm gonna cut one more for the gold here. All right. See, and this is excellent because in your bag you've got plenty of material to work with. All right, I have started putting, or I've put my eyebrows rather, with the pointed ends inward, okay? And that's just me. You may want his eyebrows in a different shape, and that's fine. I'm gonna put glue on this other eyebrow, glue it on, okay. There it is. And so like I said, his eyebrows will kind of even out, but this is at least the start of them. So they look like that, okay? You can trim them up or wait and see what it looks like after you finish him, which is what I recommend. So get kind of happy with it, and then you can do the particular trimming later. All right, so I've got my eyebrows on. My next thing to go on is gonna be the nose. And the nose, I'm gonna position just a little bit lower than the eyebrows. And I'm gonna put glasses on my gnome. So I want my nose to be low enough that the eyes are in the right spot for the glasses, okay? So, I'm gonna glue my nose on next. And when you're working with hot glue, it dries super quick, and that's a good thing, because then you can kind of take a look, step back, take a look at it, and see what you need to fix or change. All right, so there's my nose. And then for the eyes, or for the glasses rather, this is just something fun. This is one of Martha's ideas for her gnome, and then we all saw it and loved it. So I'm gonna tell you how to make it. All right, for the glasses, I'm using 2 large jump rings, and they look like this. And you can pick them up at any craft store. Walmart even has them in their jewelry section, and you normally get a bunch in a bag. So if you have several friends who are making this activity or who are doing this craft, you can kind of share them, but remember social distancing. All right, so, and then for the bridge of the glasses, I've taken a paper clip and opened it up, and I've trimmed the middle of the paper clip, one of the flat sides of it. Now I can't pick it up. Here we go. Okay, and your glasses are just gonna line up perfectly with the bridge of the glasses. Okay, so the lenses are gonna line up with the bridge. And I think I've made mine a bit long. I'm gonna try cutting this, see what happens. Perfect. All right, so to do this, I'm gonna use just a dab of hot glue. It's so small you're not even gonna be able to see it. And I'm gonna hold it together till it dries a little bit. Okay, and while that side is drying, I'm gonna go ahead and put glue on the other side of the glasses. Oops. You have to be quick because it dries really fast. All right. And be careful with your fingers because it is hot to work with hot glue. Hot glue is also very forgiving, so if you get it all over the place, once you're finished and the glue is dry, you can peel it off. And that's nice to know. Okay, so I'm gonna let those lenses on the glasses dry to the nose piece there. And I'm gonna go ahead and start putting on my gnome's beard. So to do the beard, you're gonna wanna lay your fur out on your gnome. And I want his beard to be right under his nose. And you can kind of start seeing a shape. You can make it angled, you can make it a nice wide beard, totally up to you. But I think when I look at my gnome right now, I'm seeing kind of a large triangle shape, and that's what I'm gonna go with. So the fur is really easy to cut. Okay, so there's my triangle. It's not a perfect triangle. Beards are not perfect. All right, and beards are not perfect, but I am going to trim up the top because that's going to bug me. Okay. Okay, so now he's got a nice beard all the way across. Yay. All right. So, and I think that's about the size that I want. It's going to be, I'm going to trim up the triangle just a little bit more. That way his beard's not going all the way across his face. But again, that's my personal preference on gnome facial hair. Okay, so I've got that. And I'm going to use hot glue all the way across the top here. And you may have to add another hot glue stick, and that's okay. These giant hot glue sticks, which are excellent for crafting. And you don't have to change your glue as often. All right, so I've got this, and I'm gonna line it up right where I want his beard to be. And I'm just gonna squish it down. Okay, now when his beard is on, you can start fluffing it. You can trim it a little bit. I think I am gonna trim his beard. But he is very happy. I'm gonna trim it across the bottom. But if you wanted your gnome to have a long beard, that's okay too. All right, so he's got all of this facial hair, which is awesome. Okay, and he's just sitting there just like that. And my glasses, let's see, my glasses have stuck together and they're perfect. They've got some hot glue hair on them, but that's okay. All right, and I'm going to glue them right on top of his little nose. Awesome, so I'm gonna let that dry for just a little bit. And then, looks like I got some extra hot glue on his nose. When that dries, I'll peel it back just a little bit. And when you're finished, your woodblock gnome is ready to sit on your bookshelf or anywhere in your home.